everyone's like, oh Jesus Christ.
We could fit in some truck talk. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I think I mentioned it before, but whenever you meet Wings in person, he'll usually like say 2 or 3 bad things about you or your vehicle. Like, you know, he'll find some flaws with you or whatever, and he'll insult you a few times. This is a regular thing for him.
You should hit
I don't
it
think
right back. I feel like I'd be tempted to do that.
No, I just absorb it because that's the polite thing to do. Because I think he's subconsciously insulting me to make himself feel better sometimes because maybe he's just not feeling great. So he said,
maybe it would help him if you did it back. Like,
no,
if he was like, "Woody, you look older," and you were to say, "Oh, well, did the XXY, you know?" And would he be like, "Huh? So that's what that's like."
I don't think he'd make that connection, and I don't think that I'm going to be with him long enough to make a long-lasting, impactful change in his life. So I just absorb it. He's like, "Oh, I see you got the chrome around the wheel wells there on your truck. Everyone ever saw that rusted out. You ought to get that taken off before it's too late." And then what was the other thing? There were 2 things he found wrong with my truck. I can't remember what the other one was, but yeah, he's done that every time. I remember the first time he and I are sitting in my truck and I'm driving, whatever.
It's old-ish, right? What year is the truck we're talking about? Whichever one he spotted the chrome on.
Oh, 2008.
Huh. That's 8 years old. He's telling you it's gonna rust. It seems like, you know, like so far so good.
It's like you've dodged a bullet, you know.
And this is the one that actually has been in the water, so I feel like it would have rusted by now, right? In any case, but I just remember when he was at my house, like I'm driving, he goes, "I thought your arms were bigger than that. You know, on the internet, you look like you got some big, strong arms, but ain't got much going on there." And I just want to be like, "Motherfucker, are you insane? Are you really?" We're driving right now to get your workout equipment, asshole.
Yeah, I've lost some mass.
And he doesn't.
I see you found. You know?
And then, of course, Jeremy is outside. Jeremy, who, you know, guy doesn't. It's hard. He doesn't really have two pennies to rub together, especially at this time in his life. You know, we had all helped and kind of gotten him together so he could get the vehicle that he was driving at the time. He'd had a bad accident, and insurance didn't take very good care of him, and he didn't have a way of going. So we got him a Chevrolet truck. And it was not a Z71, but it had Z71 stickers on it, and Jeremy didn't put them there. Jeremy thought he had a Z71 Chevrolet pickup truck, and that meant something to him. And Wings goes,
is like the off-road package, I think.
Yeah. Wings goes, "That's not a Z71. And Jeremy's like, "Oh, yeah, it's a Z71. Right there on the side of it, it's a Z71. And he's like, "Mm-mm. See right here, you don't have this little guard up under this brush guard under here. Yeah, you got nothing there. See the suspension, your coil springs? That's not the right thing. See tires, right? These tires, no. And by the way, the tires, Cooper's."
Now you're making it up.
I don't think he's doing that to be mean.
He kind of knows his trucks, though. That sounds like he does right there.
I know. I just know he
hurt
Toyotas.
I don't think he's trying to be mean. I don't think he's trying to be a dick, but
I just know he hurt Jeremy's feelings. And he does that regularly. He'll always find, like when you're first getting, you know, acquainted with one another, for you hadn't seen, "Oh, you have a flaw. Let me point that out for you." Good. Noted.
Yeah,
like,
but some people, like, you know, you meet people who do things like that, and they're just more forward with it, and it's kind of filterless. Not to say that it can't hurt people's feelings, but for some people, like, I don't feel like it's done maliciously. It's not like he's like, "Yeah, this guy I don't know, I'm gonna bring him down a peg." Like, I don't think
I know
it's some mean, calculated thing.
I always
It's just
envied that pass, right? Like, I years and years ago, like 20 years ago, I had a job doing accounts payable and receivable for this construction company. I worked with this woman named Lauren. Lauren was always in a terrible mood. There were days where I'd be like, "Hey, good morning, Lauren," right? As I saw her for like the first time in the office, and she'd just go like that, like she'd grunt in a like
not even a person,
like an aggressive, like she'd just growl or something, and she was just always like, I was like low man on the totem pole pretty much, and I felt like without saying it, she always made sure that I knew that I was outranked, you know, like just anytime. If you asked her a question or something, because I think she did one of my jobs before I did it, so she was experienced at it. I might ask her for advice or a question, and it it was never like, oh yeah, sure, this is how I do it. It was, like fucking like, you don't know this? No. Did you ever not know? Like, were you born knowing? How'd you do that? And I thought to myself, like, next job, instead of being like friendly and easy to work with, I need from day one to be Lauren. I just need to be an ass from the get-go and just tell people that I'm...
That's what you learned from that experience?
Yeah. I
people in a way that you were really upset by.
But the thing is, they would just be like, yeah, well, that's Lauren. Just like you did just now. You were like, like some people, whenever they see you, they make you feel bad about yourself. And
it sounds like
it doesn't come
you
from the
working...
heart. So I give them a pass, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to establish a track record when I first meet people of doing things so that I can get a pass on them.
Like sounds like Cisco was like Sparta. Only the hard,
Cisco. This was
only the strong. like what the fuck?
Nah.
I try to be as
Cisco,
amiable and polite and friendly as possible.
I got to a place at Cisco where, like, not that I ruled the place or anything. Like, don't get me all crazy, but at least in the tech area, I was probably in the top like 10% in terms of like pay
of white
scale
people
and
yeah.
stuff. No, like there
were 1% white people.
The pay grades went from like 4 to 12, and I was an 11. So like,
wow.
And the way they worked, it was like a pyramid. Like there's a lot of 4s, a bunch of 6s, fewer 8s. When you got to 11 and 12, there were just a couple of us. So if someone growled at me, it'd be like, motherfucker, who you growling at? Like, do we need to you got something, like...
Bring in the warthog.
Yeah, and of course I wouldn't be cursing and stuff like that. But, I need not take any shit in the Cisco IT department. They're
it was just a piece of paper stuck in the printer, and you didn't even check. Did I just do your job for you?
No, it's not like that. No. It's just, like, I don't know. People would, if people had like a different direction, it was one thing that would happen is like, I propose a solution and then they'd like not like it or something or have their own, but their motives were always like bolstering their own resume or something. It wasn't like they had good tech counterpoints. They just wanted to fuck about with something, who knows what. And it didn't need to take any crap. So, and again, I wasn't like on the top of the heap or anything. I was just indispensable enough that I could not have to take shit.
Squeaky wheel.
What'd you say?
Squeaky wheel. A squeaky
gets the
wheel.
grease.
Yeah, no, I feel like a squeaky wheel is... No. It's a big fucking sphere.
Oh.
I did. They just.
Would you rather be a gear than a wheel?
Gear? Now
What?
we've introduced.
Yeah,
I said
squeaky
sphere.
gear. A sphere.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make any fucking sense, though.
Picture a big fucking concrete sphere that need not take any shit from you. That's me. The squeaky wheel is someone who complains a lot in an effort of getting their problem solved. That's not me.
Okay.
Yeah, I made my own metaphor.
Fair enough.
And I might be overstating it. I feel like I'm bragging or something, but I did fine.